Hello, today we will talk about the UX analysis for solo traveling app for our case study. And this is the list of the product is an app combining itinerary planning with safety alerts with the target users of solo travel aged 18 to 35 at the moment, as well as new travelers. The design challenge constraint is that the duration is short, 5-month design cycle, budget 300,000 ringgit, with only 7 teams consisting of one remote part-time UX researcher, 2 UX designer, 1 localization specialist, and 3 developers. The resources available for us is that across our safety data, no budget for international usability testing. The key challenges is that designing for offline use, cultural sensitivity and safety recommendations, and balancing urgency with calm UX. So, for the first technique that we can use for this case is that diary study, which can be used in during research and ideation cycle. The advantages is that it can give an in-depth understanding of user behavior during setup usage in a time frame, which is what we want for cultural sensitivity recommendation, and for designing for offline use for connectivity in remote areas. It also has a locally or regionally distinct behavioral data. This disadvantage is that it's time consuming for if the user has a lot of if we have a lot of user using diary study, and there's a limited amount of user behavior data because it, it is more qualitative than quantitative. The alternative is that is of user interviews, but for this case, which focusing on solo travelers, we focus on the concept of solo travelers. So solo means one. We focus on one user experience per region, and then we can use a design sprints during ideation and prototype cycle, which has a fast design turnover time and quick trade-off resolve. Why do we need this? Because in only 5 months we need to have all our research done, or all of our design done, all our prototyping done, everything needs to be done. And during 5 months, everything needs to be clear and ready to use for user. We can so that we can test various designs and then improve it afterwards. The disadvantage is that time crunching and limited diversity testing. Why is that? Because we have a quick turnover rate. We don't have time to test every single design in depth, so that we we have to speculate of what user likes. The alternative is workflow diagram, which make workflow from month 1 until 5, and then we work on that cycle. The last one is that we can use a decision matrix with during ideation and testing cycle, which is cutting unnecessary burden or complication, and it is greatly compatible with design sprints. It makes a more focused approach for our apps. Why is this needed? Because of we need to balance urgency with calm UX. The cultural sensitivity is very important, and then the designing for offline use, which in itinerary planning is kind of hard because data is ever changing per region. So we need to make something that updates itself every time frame and then save to the local data. The disadvantage of the decision matrix is cutting features that might appeal to users and scope shrinking. The alternative for this is SWOT analysis, but SWOT is something more for a bigger project, and for this one, I don't think we need to use a SWOT analysis. So in conclusion, that this case needs quick turnover with limited budget. It needs a more focused approach and needs a dedicated team for design sprints. That is all. that I can say. Thank you very much.